Hey man, let me tell you something. Most men will go their whole lives never realizing this one fundamental truth. While they chase women with gifts, with words, with muscles, and with money, the men who are truly, devastatingly irresistible, have something much deeper. It's not their looks, it's not their game, it's not even how rich or popular they are. The real trait, the one that makes women lose sleep, fantasize endlessly, and question everything, is emotional self-control. I'm not talking about bottling up your feelings or being stone cold and robotic. I'm talking about a man who has achieved a quiet, profound power over his own impulses. A man who doesn't flinch, doesn't chase, and doesn't fold under pressure. That is what drives women insane, in the best possible way. Because that level of calm, unshakable power, it's rare, and anything that is rare becomes desirable. You see, the average guy responds to women with a thinly veiled desperation. He sees beauty, and he forgets himself. He'll change his schedule at a moment's notice, compromise his own boundaries, and even betray his own values, all just to keep her interested. That man might be liked, he might even get some temporary validation, a fleeting sense of victory, but he will never be truly, deeply desired. Because women don't crave men who break for them, they crave men who are unbreakable. A man with emotional self-control is a man who never loses his frame. He doesn't argue to prove his worth because he is already certain of it. He doesn't chase when she pulls away because his life has a trajectory independent of her. He doesn't panic when things shift because his inner world is stable. He stays grounded, and that grounded presence, it's magnetic. It whispers to her on a subconscious level, I am not moved by you. You can come closer, but I will never chase. And to a woman, a creature often navigating the chaotic seas of her own emotions, that unwavering stillness is irresistible. What most men don't get is that women test for this constantly. She'll say something to provoke you, a subtle jab disguised as a joke. She'll watch your reaction, and in that moment, she's not looking for a clever comeback. She's looking for your energy. She's looking to see if you can stay centered when she throws you off balance. And the men who pass this test aren't the ones who talk back faster or try to explain themselves into a corner. They are the ones who don't budge, the ones who can meet her chaos with a quiet, knowing silence, the ones who can watch her storm pass without getting wet. Because that emotional calm, it's leadership, it's dominance, in its purest form, it's safety. And women melt for that. Not because they are weak, but because your control offers them something they can finally surrender to. This trait, emotional self-control, isn't something you can fake. It's not about acting cool or pretending you don't care. It's about having a deep, forged-in-fire inner discipline. It's about being so rooted in who you are and what your mission is, that nothing she does can pull you off your course. She can try to make you jealous, she can withdraw her affection, she can test your patience, and you don't flinch, you don't retaliate, you don't over-explain, you simply remain. And that stillness, that quiet confidence, that deep knowing that you don't have to perform to keep her, that's what creates real, lasting desire. Because women don't want a perfect man, they want a solid one. A man who doesn't unravel the second her emotions shift. Think about the men women talk about years later, the ones who left a permanent mark on their souls. It's never the guy who sent flowers every day. It's never the guy who wrote long, gushing essays confessing his undying feelings. It's the man who felt like a mystery, the one she couldn't fully read, the one who didn't react to her every text. The one who didn't rush in to fix everything. That mystery, that emotional discipline, it becomes an obsession for her. Because she starts asking herself, why doesn't he chase like the others? Why doesn't he fold under pressure? Why do I feel more drawn to him when he gives me less? And that loop, those unanswered questions, they become addictive. Because you're not just a man to her now, you're a challenge. And women don't forget challenges. When you possess emotional self-control, you flip the entire script of the dating game. You stop being the seeker and become the one who is sought after. You stop begging for attention and start commanding respect. You stop explaining your worth and start living it. And when a woman senses that profound shift in you, something inside her shifts as well. She starts second-guessing herself. She starts putting in more effort. She starts chasing, not because you manipulated her, but because your calm power created an emotional imbalance. And an emotional imbalance is where attraction lives. It's where fantasy begins. It's where obsession grows, not through noise, but through powerful, intentional restraint. Most men try to impress through performance. They think that saying the right words, doing the right things, and showing constant affection will win her over. But those things only work if they come from a place of genuine abundance, not from a place of desperation. Emotional self-control means you give when you want to, not when you are scared of losing her. You compliment her when it's true, not when you feel her slipping away. You show affection from a place of strength, not as a bribe for her connection, and women feel that. They can tell when your attention is a genuine offering versus when it's a pathetic plea. And offerings from a king are powerful. Pleas from a peasant are, well, pathetic. Every time you react emotionally, you tell her something critical about yourself. You reveal your insecurity, you admit your neediness, you show your weakness, and while she may not say it out loud, she remembers it, she catalogs it. She starts to feel like she is in control of your emotional state. And once a woman feels like she owns your emotions, the attraction begins to fade. Because deep down, she doesn't want to lead. She doesn't want to be the center of your emotional world. She wants a man who already has a center. A man who guides, who holds space, who doesn't break under pressure. And when you are that man, she doesn't just want you, she respects you, and that combination is lethal. You want to be truly irresistible? Then learn to pause, learn to breathe, learn to feel everything and act on nothing until it serves your mission. That's real masculine strength, not suppression, but control. Not coldness, but clarity. You respond only when necessary. You choose your battles. You speak only when it elevates the moment. And when you move like that, intentional, measured, grounded, your energy becomes rare. You stop being a source of validation for her and become a mirror for her. She sees herself in you. She sees her beauty reflected back, yes, but she also sees her chaos contained. And that container, that calm, masculine energy, it's what makes her surrender. Here's the truth, brother. Emotional self-control is not about having no emotions. It's about being so strong, so disciplined, so in tune with your masculine center that your emotions never own you. They move through you, but they never dictate your actions. And when a woman sees that, when she feels your stillness in her chaos, your certainty in her doubt, your silence in her noise, she feels something she can't quite explain. It's not just love, it's not just lust. It's something deeper, something ancient, something primal. She sees a man who cannot be moved, and something inside her kneels to that energy. That is what makes you irresistible. A woman may not know how to describe it, but she feels it the moment you enter the room. You're not the loudest, you're not the flashiest, but something about you carries weight. The way you sit, the way you sit, the way you speak, the way you respond rather than react. It all sends a message that says, I am in control of myself. And that, more than any look or status, grabs her attention. Because women aren't looking for men who chase validation, they're looking for the man who validates himself. And when your emotional self-control is real, when you can stay calm when others fold, when you can smile through chaos, when you can walk away from disrespect without drama, that's when she realizes you're different, you're rare, you're irresistible. That's the little moments that reveal this trait. When she pulls back emotionally to test if you'll chase, and you don't. When she throws a tantrum to provoke you and you stay composed. When she creates tension just to feel something, and you meet it with silence instead of panic. That's when the balance of power shifts. She realizes you're not reacting to her moods like a puppet on a string. You're not bending to her emotional weather. You are the climate, she might be the wind, but you are the mountain, and the mountain never moves. That's when she starts chasing, not just your presence, but your approval. Because when your energy doesn't seek validation, hers starts to crave it. Think of the men who dominate a room without saying a word. It's not because they're trying to be mysterious, it's because they have mastered themselves. They don't speak just to fill the silence. They don't touch just to get attention. Every move is deliberate. Every glance carries intention. And women feel that. They feel the emotional control in your tone, your posture, your timing. It builds anticipation, it builds respect. It builds desire, because when a man doesn't need to prove himself, he automatically separates himself from every other man who does. That's what makes you stand out. Not what you show, but what you withhold. You can't fake this. Women are wired to detect incongruence. If you act calm, but you are boiling with anxiety on the inside, she'll feel it. If you smile, but your energy screams insecurity, she'll pick up on it. This is why the inner work matters so much. Emotional self-control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means mastering them. It means sitting with your anger and choosing not to erupt. It means feeling the urge to react and deciding not to. It means walking away from situations that demand your peace and choosing solitude over drama. And when you live like this, not as a tactic, but as a genuine way of being, you radiate power. And that power attracts more than any pickup line ever could. When a woman senses that you have full control over your inner world, she starts viewing you differently, not just as a man, but as a leader. And make no mistake about it, leadership is what women crave in a partner. Not domination, not control, but presence. Grounded, stable, unwavering presence. The kind of presence that doesn't get thrown off by her emotions, but welcomes them without being consumed by them. The kind of presence that listens but doesn't justify, watches but doesn't panic, feels but doesn't fall apart. That is the essence of masculine power. And when you embody that power calmly and effortlessly, she won't just be attracted to you, she will be drawn to you like gravity. This trait becomes even more attractive in today's world, because emotional chaos is everywhere. Social media, modern dating, 24/7 notifications, it's all overstimulating, loud, and emotionally draining. Most people are reactive. Most men are desperate to be heard, to be seen, to be validated. But when you walk through the world with a quiet, calm command of your own space, when you are the eye of the storm and not the storm itself, you become rare, you become safe. And that safety isn't boring, it's magnetic. Because a woman's heart isn't drawn to noise, it's drawn to stability. And if you can offer that through your emotional self-control, she won't just be curious, she will become addicted. And the beauty of this trait is that it's not something someone can give you, it's something you build through discipline, through hardship, through choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. Every time you want to lash out but you stay quiet, you build it. Every time you want to chase but you hold back, you build it. Every time you choose solitude over drama, you reinforce your frame. And slowly you become the man who doesn't break, who doesn't explain, who doesn't beg. And that unshakable energy, it moves different, it communicates without words, it creates attraction without trying, it earns respect without demanding it. You'll know this trait is working when she starts respecting your boundaries without you even having to enforce them, when she checks herself before she speaks, when she pauses before trying to emotionally unload on you. Not because she is scared of you, but because your calm presence makes her reflect on her own state. Your energy acts as a mirror. She starts to feel her own chaos more clearly when she is with you. And instead of pushing against your boundaries, she starts admiring them. She starts respecting your standards, because women don't fall for weak men who adjust to them, they fall for strong men who challenge them, gently, silently, but consistently. And nothing challenges a woman more than a man she cannot emotionally shake. Here's the secret, no one talks about emotional self-control turns you into her center. Every woman moves through a spectrum of emotions daily, joy, insecurity, excitement, anxiety. But when she meets a man who doesn't shift with her moods, who stays calm through her storms, she begins to orbit around him. She stops leading emotionally and starts following energetically. And this has nothing to do with dominance. It's about stability. Your calm becomes her anchor. Your energy becomes the home she never knew she needed. And the more she experiences it, the more she becomes addicted to it. Because in a world full of unstable men, your self-control feels like heaven. So understand this. Emotional self-control isn't just a good trait to have. It is the trait. The one that makes women lean in when you lean back. The one that makes her rethink her own standards. The one that separates you from every guy who acts out of fear. Because you are not in the business of proving anything. You've already proven it to yourself. And when you carry that quiet certainty, when your vibe says, I know who I am, when your presence is still, steady, and unshaken, that's when she looks at you, not with curiosity, but with desire. Because that trait, that calm, unbreakable presence, it makes you the most irresistible man she has ever known. And here's what's wild. She won't even be able to explain why she is so drawn to you. She'll tell her friends, there's just something about it. Because it's not something she can see, it's something she feels. It's your presence, your restraint, your ability to sit in silence without needing to fill it. Your ability to feel her energy shift and still choose stillness over reaction. That drives her crazy. In a world of emotional boys who panic at the first sign of discomfort, your calmness stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. She's not used to it. She has likely never been around it. And because of that, she craves it. Even if it terrifies her a little. You become a mystery, not because you're hiding anything, but because you are not laying yourself bare just to gain her affection. You let her wander. You let her reach. You let her come to you instead of you constantly coming to her. And that shift in the dynamic, it flips the entire emotional script. Now she's the one analyzing your messages. She's the one waiting for your response. She's the one feeling those little spikes of insecurity and loving it. Because women don't want to be in control of everything. Deep down, they want to feel the thrill of the unknown. And a man with emotional self-control provides that thrill without the chaos. It's the perfect storm, structured danger, contained unpredictability, safe tension. But let's be real, this kind of control isn't easy to build. It requires you to unlearn every reactive habit you've ever developed. It demands that you look at your own wounds, your insecurities, your triggers, and face them head on. You can't flinch at rejection. You can't crumble under silence. You can't fall apart when she pulls away. Because if her mood dictates your behavior, she will never respect you. But when your behavior is dictated by your principles, when you choose grounded responses over emotional reactions, you become a man who leads himself, and a man who leads himself doesn't need to demand respect. It is simply given to him. Asterisk. Most guys think that women want someone who is always available, someone who is always emotionally open, someone who never gets angry, who always listens, who never says no. But here's the truth. Women don't want nice men. They want strong men, men who are kind, yes, but who are also firm, men who listen, yes, but who don't tolerate nonsense, men who feel deeply, but who also protect their energy fiercely. Emotional self-control gives you that edge. It allows you to connect without collapsing, to love without losing yourself, to care without being consumed, and that balance, that tension, that's what makes her heart race. It's not about playing games, it's not about being cold, it's not about pretending not to care, it's about learning the art of restraint. It's about valuing your own peace more than her validation. It's about being so deeply connected to your purpose that her emotional roller coaster doesn't distract you. And when she realizes that her moods don't move you, when she senses that her games don't trigger you, when she throws her worst at you and you remain centered, she starts to trust you. And that trust, it turns into respect. That respect, into desire, and that desire into devotion. All because you chose calm over chaos. Understand this. Every time you stay calm in moments where others would explode, you become more powerful. Every time you pause before reacting, you gain more control. Every time you choose silence over defensiveness, stillness over desperation, clarity over confusion, you amplify your masculine presence. And that presence, it's unforgettable. She might not even like you at first. She might resist your energy. She might try to poke and prod and test. But if you stay the course, if you don't bend, don't break, don't chase, eventually she feels it. She feels the shift. And suddenly she's not just interested, she's hooked. A man with emotional self-control doesn't just attract women, he inspires them. He forces them to rise to his level. He invites them into a space where emotional games won't work, where manipulation hits a wall, where real connection is the only path forward. And if she can't meet you there, you walk away, calmly, without drama, without begging, without resentment, because your energy is not desperate, it's not scattered, it's not waiting for approval, it's whole, and wholeness is rare. Wholeness is powerful. Wholeness is irresistible. There's a reason women obsess over certain men long after they're gone. It's not because they were the most handsome, or the richest, or the funniest. It's because they had control. Control over their emotions, control over their attention, control over how much of themselves they gave away. And women remember that kind of man. They replay the moments in their minds. They search for that same energy in every new guy they meet, and they rarely find it. Because most men are emotional open books, but you're a sealed vault. Not cold, not distant, just contained. And in a world of leaking, anxious energy, you feel like power. Eventually, your self-control becomes her obsession. She'll think about the way you didn't flinch when she tried to make you jealous, the way you remained composed when she pulled away, the way you handled her silence with grace instead of neediness, and those moments, they imprint on her. They linger. They loop in her mind like a song she can't turn off. Because you weren't just present, you were sovereign. You didn't ask for her emotional permission to exist. You were already enough, already centered, already whole. And in doing that, you gave her something most men never can, a feeling of emotional safety wrapped in an irresistible masculine mystery. So if you are serious about becoming the kind of man that women find unforgettable, stop asking what to say. Stop asking what to text. Stop obsessing over strategies and tactics. Instead, build this trait. Master your emotions. Become the calm in her storm. Be the man who feels everything but is ruled by nothing. Be the man who listens without reacting, who holds space without chasing, who leads without shouting. Because that energy, that calm, unshakable, emotionally sovereign presence, that's what turns a woman's attraction into obsession. That's what makes you unforgettable. That's what makes you irresistible. And here's the kicker, brother. Once you truly master emotional self-control, you won't even want to chase. You won't feel the urge to constantly prove yourself. You'll stop trying to decode her every word, her every mood swing, her every silence, because you'll realize that it doesn't matter. What matters is you, your peace, your mission, your boundaries. When you lock into that kind of energy, women stop becoming puzzles you need to solve and start becoming visitors to your world. They either add to it, or they don't. And that clarity alone frees you. It removes the obsession. It eliminates the guessing game. And ironically, it's that very detachment that draws them in even more. Your emotional self-control doesn't just protect you, it magnetizes you. It creates an invisible pull. The less you react, the more she leans in. The less you overinvest, the more she starts investing. The less you chase, the more she begins to crave your attention. It's not manipulation, it's an energy exchange. And women are masters at reading that energy. They don't need a speech. They don't need an explanation. They just feel when a man is rooted, and they want to drink from that energy, because most women are emotionally exhausted, spinning through their own thoughts, stories, and expectations. And when they meet a man who doesn't spin, who doesn't rush, who doesn't need them, he becomes their peace. And peace is irresistible. You'll also start to notice something else. The wrong women, the manipulative ones, the emotionally unstable ones, the ones who thrive on drama, they'll vanish from your life. Not because you rejected them, but because your calm repelled them. Your groundedness exposes their chaos. Your clarity makes their confusion uncomfortable. They can't play their games with you. They can't bait you. They can't dominate your frame. And so, they leave. And that is a gift. Your emotional self-control becomes a filter. It keeps out the chaos. It attracts the feminine, but only the feminine that is ready for a man like you. A man who cannot be moved by emotion, but only guided by his own vision. This is why this trait is so rare, because to truly master emotional self-control, you have to be tested. You have to go through heartbreak, betrayal, failure, and rejection. Not once, but over and over again, because it's in those moments, when you want to lash out, to cry out, to collapse, that you either give in to the impulse, or you choose stillness. That stillness becomes a habit, and the habit becomes your character, and the character becomes your aura, and that aura, that's what women feel before you even speak a word. It tells them everything they need to know. This man is not a boy. This man is not lost. This man is not waiting for my approval. This man is ready. When you embody this trait, your conversations become more powerful. You don't need to say much. Your silence says everything. You don't need to dominate a room. Your presence does. You don't need to perform. Your peace performs for you. And women feel that peace. They begin to regulate themselves around your energy. They soften, they quiet down, they start acting more feminine. Not because you told them to, but because your masculinity finally made space for it. And that's when real intimacy begins. Not the performative kind, not the transactional kind, but the deep, sacred, raw connection that can only happen when she senses she is in the presence of a real, unshakable man. Now let me make something crystal clear. Emotional self-control does not mean emotional numbness. You still feel, you still care, you still love, but your love is disciplined, your care is measured, your giving is intentional. Because real men don't love blindly, they love with vision. They protect their energy. They choose when to open up and to whom. They don't hand over the keys to their emotional kingdom to a woman who hasn't earned entry. And when a woman senses that kind of boundary, not a wall, but a gate, she must be invited through. She steps differently. She speaks softer, she thinks twice. Because she knows this man doesn't need me, he allows me. And that shift, that knowing, that's what ignites real, lasting, soul-level desire. This is the kind of energy that stays with her long after the texts fade, long after the calls stop, long after she may have moved on, because she didn't just experience attraction with you, she experienced masculine mastery. And once a woman feels that, every man after you will be a comparison. They'll be louder, needier, more available, but they won't have that thing, that unshakable calm, that internal silence, that quiet power, that centered gaze that says, I don't need to prove myself to anyone. And one day, maybe years later, she realized what she lost. Not a guy, not a boyfriend, but a presence that made her feel safer, sexier, and more alive than anything else. Than the most powerful part of all of this. You don't need anyone else to see it. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. Because your emotional self-control is not for them. It's for you. It's what protects your mind. It's what guards your heart. It's what keeps you from falling into the emotional quicksand of life. And when you build that trait, everything else changes. You start choosing better partners. You stop wasting your time on emotional roller coasters. You stop explaining yourself to people who can't meet you where you are. You become selective, and in that selectivity lies your true strength. So don't chase charisma, don't memorize pickup lines, don't perform for affection. Build this trait. Become the man who owns his energy, who leads his emotions, who walks with clarity, who sits in silence, who speaks when needed, who loves from a place of abundance, and who never ever bends just to keep someone around. And when you do, you will see it. Women will start looking at you differently, speaking to you differently, feeling you differently, because you're not just another man anymore. You are a force, a quiet, calming, captivating force that draws them in, not with tricks, but with your truth. In the end, brother, this one trait, emotional self-control, is what separates the men that women tolerate from the men they chase. It's the difference between being wanted for a moment and being remembered for a lifetime. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it doesn't scream, but it echoes. It echoes through her thoughts, through her feelings, through her memories. Because in a world full of noise, a man who moves like silence becomes unforgettable. So master your emotions, own your energy, live with intention, and let your calm speak louder than any pickup line ever could.